Hey guys, and welcome back to Floki's Models. Today I will be building and painting Bandai's X-Wing Starfighter. This is the version from Rise of Skywalker and his Red 5. Like all of these Bandai kits, assembly is very easy and straightforward, so I'll just chime in every now and then about what I'm doing. First thing to work on is the ring sections. There are two ring sections that make up the four-wing X shape, with one side being a top wing and the other side of the same section being a bottom wing. All the engine nozzles and intakes have some really nice detail in them. Here is one completed wing section. Both build up almost identically and have a lot of really nice detail in them. And this is one of the four bases of the laser cannons. To assemble the wing sections together, one side is a tube with a raised area on top. The other is a hole with a notch in it. The tube is inserted into the hole until it clicks. The wings are then workable afterwards. These two pieces keep the wings in place inside the fuselage and also act as a guide. Masking canopies is always a part of any build I don't enjoy, but the X-Wing canopy is very easy. I use Tamiya tape and line up against one side of the canopy frame first. Then, using a toothpick, I burnished the tape down to clearly see the canopy frame outline. Now that I can easily see the outline of the canopy frame, I take a brand new number 11 blade and cut the tape to fit the canopy. Again, the X-Wing canopy is fairly easy, but you got something like a German bomber with a lot of glass panes. It's a real pain in the butt to do. And here the canopy is all masked and ready for paint. I mix up some Tamiya XF63 German Grey, mixed 1:1 with Mr. Leveling Thinner. I will use this to paint all the cockpit parts. Next up for painting, I'm going to use Vallejo German Cambo Beige World War II, and use this to paint the pilot seat. And the seat's all painted up. I'm going to be going with Vallejo Light Gray next, and dry brush all the raised detail in the cockpit. Dry brushing is very simple to do. Just get a little bit of paint on your brush, and then using a piece of paper towel, remove most of the paint, and then go to your part and just lightly go over all the raised area. What little paint is left in the brush, will only hit the raised detail, leaving the darker areas in the recesses. Final step for painting the cockpit is picking out some of the pipes and conduits with Vallejo oily steel. This adds a nice bit of shine you see in this area in the movies. Now that the cockpit is all painted, it's time to finish assembly. Even though it's a snap-together kit, I still use glue to hold most pieces in place. The cockpit looks really good, all painted and setting in place. The wing assembly fits into some grooves at the bottom of the fuselage here. I use some glue, making sure not to get any on the moving parts. The cockpit then snaps into the bottom fuselage. I use some glue here to close up a very slight gap. Then the instrument panel goes into place. Followed by the proton torpedo tubes. And the piece that holds the nose cone in place. The top half of the fuselage goes into place next. It was a bit tricky at first to fit around the tops of the engines, but once I got it past that, it fit nicely into place. The rear engine deck slides right into place and is held in by the rear end of the fuselage. Then the nose cone snaps on. I'm building this X-ring with the gear up, so the landing gear doors get installed in the closed position. I also glue in the plug that hides the hole for the stand. So here it is all assembled, and the rings still work in the end too. These Bandai kits are super fun and really easy to put together. I would recommend them to anybody. Bandai does a good job so you can leave these unpainted, but I'm not going to do that. It's got to be painted. To start painting, I give it an overall coat of Mr. Surfacer Gray Primer, then mix up some Tamiya XF1 Flat Black 1:1 with Mr. Leveling Thinner. I will use this to pre-shade all the panel lines and add random squiggles in the middle of some panels. Next I mix Tamiya XF2 flat white and XF55 deck tan. 4 parts white to 1 part tan. Again with a 1-to-1 with Mr. Leveling Thinner. I airbrush on 2 light coats of this mixture over the entire surface. The results of this is a well-used looking finish. I mask off a few panels and spray a coat of hairspray to act as a chipping medium later. I accidentally went a bit too heavy on this first area. I used Tamiya Lemon Yellow to airbrush these 2 panels. The tape had started to lift because I used too heavy of a coat of hairspray. But I got it to hold long enough to get these 2 panels done. Using the kit decals, I use a combination of Tamiya tape and yellow frog tape to mask the unit markings. Then I make sure to go very light with the hairspray this time. Then I use Tamiya XF5 flat green, again 1-to-1 with Mr. Leveling Thinner, and I use it to paint the identifying panels. One of the most satisfying parts of a build is removing the paint mask, and I'm very happy the way this looks. I think it's about time I invest in a new pair of sharp tweezers. These really don't have the same point that they used to. Now to start chipping. Just using plain tap water, I work the surface, softening up the hairspray underneath to cause the green and yellow to chip randomly. I'm not very happy with the way the right side chipped, but everything else I think chipped very nicely. And here is the X-Ring all assembled and painted. In the next video I will start on the weathering process. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. I hope you all enjoy it and enjoy this great hobby of model building. And please take the time to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps me know that I'm doing a good job and doing something that you guys like. And as always, stay tuned for many more videos to come.